Yeah, we got 1 minute. You know the answer to the trivia. We've got trivia coming up tonight. This is going to be a great prize. I don't know if I told you about it. You'll hear about it when I do the show. So trivia, you've got the answer to that. Random share giveaway for the stickers. And it looks like I'll be going to the quail thing in Pebble Beach or Carmel. And that's in May. I got to find out about a room, though. I do have to go. Something to do with the International Motocross Museum. No, you're going to go with me. But I want to find out about rooms first because rooms are rather expensive there. Okay. So I want to look around quickly, like tomorrow. I just found out about it today.
Oh, all right.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
What?
No,
I thought you said something.
No, I love you.
You sure?
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
I keep forgetting the camera's running when I took the gum out of my mouth. Sorry about that, folks, if you're watching.
All right.
You're live.
Let's get down to the starting line, and I'll tell you what you're going to see on tonight's show. And the next time, try this segment. We talk about the difference between cleaners and degreasers. In the Moto Showcase, a beautiful 1981 Honda CR125. Here's the problem. You got questions. We've got answers. What's it worth? A beautiful 360 Husky that recently sold on Bring a Trailer. Trivia returns with one of the greatest prizes we've ever given away here on Vintage Motocross Q&A. And just how I see it segment tonight, we're going to be talking about Ken Roczen and his big win last week. I want to know your feelings on that. It did end a 6-year, 10-month, and 11-day drought for Suzuki. I want to know what you think about Ken Roczen, his Kickstarter, Suzuki's win. Will it put Suzuki back in the winner's circle in a much bigger way on some future races? I want to hear your comments throughout the show. We're looking forward to that and a whole lot more coming up on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. I am your host, Joe Abadi. Thank you for joining me. Jordan, Chelsea, and Susie, welcome back from Florida. And Susie, thank you for helping me put the show together. Thank you, the viewers at home who join us every week. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please comment Motion Pro, and we will have a nice sticker sheet like this that we'll be giving away a little bit later on to a random sharer, so to speak. A random sharer will be getting a sticker sheet like that, compliments of VINTCO. Our YouTube channel is going great. I don't know if you saw our new promotional video that we have up there, but anyway, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free, it's fast, and it's fun. When you do subscribe, you'll get a little alert just like this. It tells you when we're live on YouTube. Great way to watch the show is from your big screen TV while you comment from your phone. Great way to watch the show. From the phone, and you comment. As always, I want to thank all of our sponsors, VINTCO, Motion Pro, Preston Petty Products, Racer X, Full Circle Racing, the International Motocross Museum, and a new favorite of mine, Replica Motorcycle Parts. Where do you hear more from him a little bit later on?
With a can of degreaser in one hand and brake and parts cleaner in the other, you could be forgiven for thinking they do the same job. But each solvent has its purpose. Watch on to find out more. Let's start with degreaser, an essential in any workshop. SCA Heavy Duty Aerosol Degreaser is a very cost-effective petroleum-based cleaner. Grab a few tins of this for quick and easy cleaning of spare parts, oil spills, engine bays, or degreasing in the bilge on your boat. It's simply a matter of spray on and hose off, with a little time to soak in between. Even thick grease and grime will give way with a little agitation from a parts brush. Degreaser is awesome stuff, but for a little extra grease cutting power with a residue-free finish, SCA Brake and Parts Cleaner should be your go-to. Brake and Parts Cleaner costs a little more than degreaser, and so is generally used a little more sparingly. Brake and Parts Cleaner relies on isopropyl alcohol to ensure it evaporates quickly. It leaves your brakes or sensitive parts spotless with no disassembly required. Brake Cleaner will also make light work of small oil stains on the driveway. However, with its extra cleaning power, Brake Cleaner can damage delicate plastic and rubber parts and even harm painted surfaces. Best to ensure it only hits the brakes and other unpainted metallic surfaces. Now that you know which is which, you'll save time and money using the right product every time.
Next time, try that. This week's VINTCO special is a 1983-84 490 cylinder sleeve, 86.5 millimeter, just $195.95. For many bikes, it's hard to find replacement equipment like this, and you could be ensured that when you buy it from VINTCO, it's going to fit even better than the original. It's going to last even longer. Get over to VINTCO.com. VINTCO, keep the ride going. Excuse me. In the Moto Showcase tonight, we take a look at a 1981 Honda CR125 that was sent to us by Lincoln Smith. This segment is, of course, sponsored by Preston Petty Products. There it is, the 81 CR125, and Lincoln writes to us, it's not 100% restoration, but more of a resto mod. Honda's first water-cooled production bike. I bought it in Louisiana and brought it back to my shop in Greenville, Tennessee. PLS Restoration Cycles helped me with this. They stripped it down, stripped the frame. They began the process. The frame was powder coated to Tahitian red. The original tank was wet sanded and buffed. VMX fenders and side panels, as the originals were a little too far gone. So the white shrouds came from DC Plastics. The seat was recovered. All original hardware was cleaned, vapor blasted, and rezinc coated. Original wheels were taken apart, stripped, and anodized, cleaned, sanded, vapor blasted, and they were anodized by Texas Precision Plating. The forks were rebuilt and they were upgraded to 81 CR250 forks. They are 41 millimeter instead of 38 millimeter. The swing arm completely was stripped and re-anodized, has new bearings installed. I believe that someone raced it at one time as it had a 250 double leading shoe up front. The cases were cleaned. They were vapor blasted. It's got a 35 millimeter key and carburetor on it. It was taken apart. It was sonic cleaned. It works perfectly. It's got the original exhaust, and I had a few dents removed from that, and I also installed a DG silencer. The front number plate is a modified stadium plate attached to the original mounts and screen. Joe, thanks for featuring my bike on the show. Lincoln, thank you for putting your bike here on Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I promised you last week you were a winner of it was yeah, I mailed you a mug. I mailed you a coffee mug, which is what I give away during this segment. So that is on the way. Lincoln Smith, thank you so much for putting your bike on the show here with us this week, for joining us last week, and for being a big supporter of the show. This week's Preston Petty special, it is a front fender. It's down in the bargain basement. So you want to go over to Preston Petty Products, click on bargain basement. It's just $36.95 while they last. The regular price is $52.95. Got a real nice discount there from Paul Stannard at Preston Petty Products. And of course, they are still looking for dealers. Get a hold of Paul Stannard. He will make you a dealer for Preston Petty Products. And here's the problem segment tonight. We take a look at some of the questions that you sent in over the last week or so. Jordan, what do we have up first? You recognize the manufacturer writing on this piston. I can't find the correct wrist pin for a 360 Öhlins Yamaha kit. Okay, this is a real rare kit. Guys use them on YZ250s. And no, I don't really recognize the font or the writing on top of that piston, but I can tell you this. You can go over to VINTCO.com. They've got a schematic drawing over there of all the different pistons they make and all the dimensions, including all the wrist pin sizes and bearing sizes as well. Now, if you can get a measurement off the rod in your bike and you'll find out what the diameter of the rod is, you'll be able to match it up with some things they have over there at VINTCO. I've sent a lot of people over there over the years who have had situations where They couldn't find a replacement piston for their bike. They went to VINTCO. They found out what the height was and where the rings and everything else that goes along with the dimensions of the piston, and they were able to find the replacement part they needed. Not necessarily for their bike, but it worked just fine. So I would recommend you go over there, and you're going to find the wrist pin that you're looking for. Thanks for the question. John McDonald, Joe, great job on the Harley Baja. I've been hearing a lot about that lately. Thank you, everyone. I need an air cleaner and a good exhaust for mine. Any suggestions? The only two suggestions I have are, I gave them to Jordan. Jordan, you didn't put them on the slide. Ah, there they are. Great job, Jordan. Jan William Boon. He is in the Netherlands. Jan William Boon. He does have a lot of parts, but you're going to pay through the nose when it comes to shipping them back to America. jw@jwboon.nl has a lot of that stuff. Now, Moto Italia did have a lot of it for many, many years. They were in Petaluma, California. They have closed. You could still try the phone number, or you could still look at their email. I don't know if whoever bought it came back with any vengeance at all and put everything back together and is trying to sell parts from them. Pipe is going to be a little bit difficult. Rims you can get from Tom McAllister, but that stuff from Jan Boon you can get in the Netherlands. So good luck with that. There's not a lot of places out there that have parts for Baja anymore. And I know Keith Geisner is going to be looking for some stuff pretty soon too. Eric Weiss, did you know anyone that sells a fender brace for a 69 through 70 or a 72 Husqvarna 450? I don't. And I looked around too. Here's one on a bike that I think Dave Boydston had for sale. You might want to contact Dave at AMS. He does do a lot with Huskies. He may be able to find one for you or tell you where you can locate one. But I don't know off the top of my head where to find a fender brace for that Husky. Motion Pro. Don't forget, they've got specials going on every week just for you viewers here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. They have a 20% off everything across the board. This week's code is MP7771. That's MP7771 when you go over to motionpro.com. Order whatever you need. When you get to the end and you check out, you put in that code, you get 20% off. I am just loving some of the things we're seeing from Motion Pro lately. Here's one of my favorite things to use, a steering bearing installer. We've got all kinds of things, sag adjusters, cable lube kits. There's so much to see over at Motion Pro and so many things that I'm certain that you could use. Get over to Motion Pro today. Get some stuff, 20% off. Thank you, Chris Carter.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Sean Gager. We're here with Altus Motorsports. I'm Kevin Olmedo's mechanic, bike number 16. We wanted to kind of show off the Motion Pro wrenches and all kinds of different tools that Motion Pro makes. Getting the job done, saving time is crucial, especially, qualifying, trying to do a clutch change or anything like that. These speed wrenches are absolutely great to have. They make our lives absolutely way easier. Every single mechanic on the crew has many, many things in their toolbox, and we are very, very happy to have them on board.
Always great stuff from Motion Pro. In the What's It Worth segment tonight, which is brought to you by Full Circle Racing, we take a look at something I saw on Bring a Trailer this past week. It's a 1976 Husky CR 360, I think it is. And we're going to take a look at it. Jordan's going to go through the slides. I'll read to you a little bit more about what it is. And this is, of course, the segment of the show where I encourage you, the viewers at home, to give your best guesstimate on what you think this bike recently sold for. 76 Husky 360 CR, finished in purple with polished accents over the silver frame. It's equipped with a 354cc two-stroke single paired with a 6-speed transmission. Features include a Kickstarter. Well, isn't that something? It's got a high-mounted exhaust system, perforated heat shield, staggered diameter alloy front rim, which I have no idea what that means. The bike is reportedly was acquired by a seller's father and subsequently stored for a very, very long time. 360 is now offered at no reserve for this bike. It does have a clean California title. Fuel tank is finished in purple, as you mentioned earlier. It's got polished accents. It's got a new vinyl seat cover on it. It's got a great airbox cover, which was just recently replaced. Got black graphics, high-mounted fenders, and just another one of these kind of milquetoast descriptions that they give on Bring a Trailer. I don't know why they do that or who's making stuff up over there. It does have the correct 12-bore tires on it. And the chrome on the cross brace is fitted with the clutch and brake lever along with a single cable assembly. Just basic stuff. He does mention, though, that there is some minor rust on the bike. I did see some of that myself. It doesn't look like the bike was restored. And also, Jordan, if you went back there, one picture, it shows the bottom of the engine. That picture spoke volumes to me. It really, really did. There it is, the bottom of the engine. You can see very, very minimal damage to the frame, and the cases look beautiful on the bike. So what do you think this bike recently sold for? Open Class 76 Husky. Real nice shape. Actually, my favorite Husky of all time. It really, really is. How much do you think it went for? $5,000, $7,000, $7,500. This bike sold for, drumroll please, $6,000. $6,000. Who got closest without going over? You're the smartest guy in the room tonight.
Link Smith again.
Link Smith can't win anymore. He won last week. He won this week. Link Smith is just mopping up. I think he goes over to some of my sites.
No, Jeff Kokoski, sorry.
Jeff Kokoski is definitely not eligible to win any prize. Well, maybe Jeff is. We might.
He said 6,000 on the bottom.
Jeff, I will stand by your wonderful and very accurate guesstimate. And I'll get you some stickers from VINTCO or something like that. Jeff, you do a lot for the show, too. So, in fact, we've got a segment coming up by Jeff Kokoski a little bit later on in the Did You Know segment. So, we will tip our hat to Jeff Kokoski on tonight's $6,000 guess on that 76 Husky. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, by the way. We do have a random share giveaway winner a little bit later on. We'll give that sticker sheet. And we've got trivia, too, so stick around for that. Oh, full circle. Still got this great special going on. Just $50 a hub to powder coat your hub. Send them up there to Tom McAllister. He will powder coat them, bead blast them. They'll look beautiful. If you want, he'll put spokes in, give you a new rim, whatever it takes to put wheels back on your bike. Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing has what you're looking for. On-road, off-road, adventure bike, whatever it might be. He's also got these great CZ backing plates. He's been making these for a very long time. Makes them right there in-house. Just $179 with the CZ logo, $169 without. Thank you. Tom McAllister and Full Circle Racing to be a sponsor of our show for like 3 years now. We really, really appreciate it. And Tom tells me that he's got oodles, however many oodles are, of rims. He's got like a, what do you call it? A container of rims that were just imported or exported, maybe imports and exports like Art Vandelay, spandex. Anyway, latex, whatever it might be. Tom McAllister's got it all up there at Full Circle Racing. Have you ever heard of? This was brought to us by Jeff Kokoski, and it's a very, very interesting, very interesting little segment that Jeff put together. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Jordan, the name of this segment is Did You Know? We have the aerial in Did You Know?
No, this is ever heard of. You just have them backwards.
Sorry?
You got them backwards.
I had them backwards. Oh, so ever heard of is the aerial we're going to be looking at right now, correct?
You got it.
Jordan? All right. This bike was sent to us by Kevin Connor. Kevin Connor, beautiful Ariel. Jordan will go through the slides while I read to you what Kevin has written to me. Ariel first began making motorized two-wheeled bikes in 1901. Their first motorcycle produced was a whopping 2.5 horsepower. In 1932, they released their 500cc Red Hunter to great acclaim. After World War II, Ariel was purchased by BSA. By 1954, the Red Hunter was fitted with a new swing arm frame, giving it front and rear suspension. The Scrambler's all-alloy 500cc engine produced 33 horsepower. The bike was very popular among the amateur racers who often rode the bike to the track, competed on it, then rode the bike home at the end of the day. There were only about 1,000 of these old bikes made during their production run from 1954 to 1959. And the bike we're looking at this bike does belong to Kevin Connor. Anyway, Kevin purchased it at Mecum in 2021. I recently had it refreshed by Nathan Martin at Midwest Vintage Motorcycle Services. It's a first Kickstarter as long as you follow the proper procedure. Find top dead center, retard the timing slightly, tickle the carb, use the compression release and kick just past top dead center, release the compression lever and kick it with about a quarter throttle and voila. Amazingly, this process takes about the exact same time it takes Ken Roczen to start his Suzuki when it stalls. I didn't write that, Kevin Connor did, and we can't come down on Kenny. The this week. He proved us all wrong. Anyway, I was planning to sell this bike this year, but after hearing its booming engine and doing a little research on it, I'm thinking I'm going to keep it. I think that would be a wise move. Kevin Connor on the Ariel. Beautiful bike. Thank you for sending it in. There was a video on it somewhere too. He's even got the manual. Kevin Connor, I will get you a coffee mug. Compliments of VintageMotocross.com. Trivia returns. This is going to be really, really good tonight. We've got something that could be potentially worth tens of thousands of dollars. Jordan, were we going to talk about that first before we actually did the trivia contest?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's what we're doing. There is a trivia contest. We're going to be talking about that in just a moment. I'll give you the question. You'll give me the answer. It is a call-in contest. But the Can-Am 50th Festival is coming up. That is August 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's up there in Ontario, Canada. They are giving away 3 motorcycles. I kid you not. They're giving away 3 restored Can-Ams, compliments of John Lake and Thistle. And the tickets that we're going to be giving away in the trivia contest, they can be purchased online. All credit cards are accepted. Canadian funds, not American, so you save a little bit on the exchange rate there. Each ticket gives you a chance to win one of those 3 bikes. Tickets are only $10. We're going to be giving away one on the show tonight, but it's for 3 bikes. So you get 3 chances for $10. This is the great thing about this. We will ship the bike to any winning ticket sold in the USA. As trucking companies don't deliver to residences, we will ship the bike to a mutually determined location with the winner, whoever wins the bike. So not only for $10 do you get in on a chance to win one of 3 Can-Ams, it's going to get shipped to you as well. I've given away bikes before. I've never included shipping. Wow. Hats off to you, to the Thistle, John Lake, and everybody there at the 50th Can-Am. Now, I've got the ticket right here, okay? We're going to be giving away this ticket tonight to the trivia winner. Jordan, let's hear the trivia question. What rider won a Supercross championship for Can-Am? What year was it in? That's right, Can-Am did win a Supercross title. What year did it happen? Who was the rider? This is a call-in contest. Beautiful and sexy operators are standing by. 925-234-8181. That's 925-234-8181. The ticket number is 1010. I just want to show it to you right here. 1010. There it is right there. Ticket number is 1010. We're going to be filling this in with your name on it. We will mail it to you, and you'll be in on a chance to win one of 3 Can-Ams. They've got a 175, a 74 MX 250, a 77 ISDT 175, and a 79 Can-Am 370 qualifier. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to be up there in Ontario. Looking forward to it. So we are waiting on someone to call in. In the meantime, we will move on with Did You Know? This segment is brought to you by Replica Motorcycle Parts, and I'll be talking to you more about their products in just a moment. But the Did You Know segment was sent in to us by Jeff Kokoski. Very, very interesting stuff Jeffrey's been coming up with lately. This week it is on reed valves. In its simplest form, a reed valve used a 2-stroke engine is nothing more than a one-way flapper style or swing check valve that allows the fuel air mixture into 2-stroke crankcases, using the engine's vacuum. Swing check valves allow a fluid like water or oil or air to enter one side of the valve, then its hinge flapper closes for the flow with the downstream pressure, overcomes the pressure in the incoming fluid, thus allowing it to flow only in one direction. The idea and application of the swing check valve has been around for thousands of years. It was used by the ancient Romans and Greeks and the Egyptians in order to lift water up to the elevation where they needed it. In those ancient times, the flapper piece was generally made from leather, hand-operated well pump. That was familiar with the old Westerns, used a check valve, and it lifted the water in the outlet. At the old-time fireplace bellows, also used a swing check valve to get fresh air in there as well. Modern-day hydraulic pipe systems use check valves by varying configurations to prevent water from flowing backward through a pump or as a backflow preventer on water lines entering your house. One of the more ominous uses of a check valve was used in the construction of the V1 buzz bombs developed by the Nazis during World War II, terrorize the citizens of London. Here is the pulsing of the exhausted tuner chamber, creating a low-pressure situation that allowed a fuel-air mixture to enter chamber via an array of check valves. So how does it apply to 2-strokes? The first check valve scavenged 2-stroke engine, similar to what you see today, was developed by an English engineer, Joseph Day, in 1889. His design even included a simple check valve in the inlet port that communicated directly with the crankcase, where you would probably find a reed valve on a modern two-stroke. However, it would be many years before the check valve would find its way into the design of two-cycle motorcycle engines. By the early 1960s, the simplicity, reliability, and power-to-weight ratio of the two-stroke motorcycle engine started to compete with four strokes on the international racing scene, and it first became the norm, especially in the 250cc class. Two-stroke engines suck the fuel-air mixture through the intake tract into the engine. With the piston, when the piston rises, it creates a vacuum in the crankcase, or its descent, the piston forces the mixture up through the transfer ports and into the combustion chamber. The oil mixture lubricates the lower bearing in the crankcase. These early two-stroke utilized the piston port design, where the up and down movement of the piston covers and the uncovers the intake, transfer, and the exhaust ports, much like you see here in this picture. While it's a simple design, it also allows part of that mixture to be backwashed into the intake and short-circuited through the exhaust, thus wasting fuel and sacrificing some power. This is where the reed valve really comes in. Recognizing the deficiencies, some designers attach the intake directly to the case and control the mixture through a slotted disc. Maybe you're familiar with that. A Can-Am has one, so is a rotary valve Kawasaki and other people who make rotary valves. The rotary valve intake were much more efficient, but engineers found it to be a little complex, and they lacked bottom end power that they needed for off-road riding and motocross. In '72, Yamaha came up with a great thing called the it was a V-shaped reed, as we know it today. The reed valve consisted of a thin, flexible reed pedals. It sits over the opening and a wedge-shaped block. With lower pressure zone in the crankcase, the piston moving up, the reed valve flexed, opened up. It allowed the air and fuel to pass in there, and it worked really, really well. Yamaha patented the system. They called it the torque induction. Husqvarna quickly followed suit, and by the end of the decade, all major manufacturers except Can-Am, they had completely incorporated the reed valve system into all their off-road motocross bikes. So why are all these things called reeds? Literature cannot really define why it was called a reed, but in Middle Eastern culture, they use these giant reed canes, and we also know them as reeds when we use them on woodwind instruments such as clarinets. The opening that covered that silver thin reed there, like you see there in the picture, or a piece of grass when you used to blow it through your thumbs as a kid, make that noise. And that's why we believe that it was called the reed valve. The instrument and the mouthpiece similar to that in a modern clarinet. And that's why it is called the reed valve. I want to thank Jeff Kokoski for sending that in. I did learn a lot about that, and I wasn't sure about why it was called the reed valve and how it all came about, but there we have it. Now, we have a trivia contest to get back to, and we have someone on the phone.
It's Bob Howard.
Yes.
Well, now you kind of spoiled that.
Oh.
This is Joe Abadi from Vintage Motocross Q&A. Who am I speaking to?
Speaking with Bob Howard.
Bob Howard.
Trout Run, PA. Yeah, Trout Run, PA, and formerly from Bergen County, like you.
Hey, where in Bergen County, Bob?
Lodi is where I was living. I still got plenty of family back there. Yeah.
Very interesting. When my family emigrated from Italy, they went to Lodi, New Jersey. But enough about that right now.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Can-Am did win. Can-Am did win a Supercross championship. What year did they win it, and who was the winner?
Well, I know the winner was Jimmy Ellis.
You got it.
Actually, I was thinking it was 74, and but I wasn't sure. I think I might have been corrected that it was 75.
It is 1975. It is Jimmy Ellis. You are the winner of this ticket, all right, to win one of 3 Can-Ams. And
What a deal.
I am going to be up there. I will be the MC and the announcer for the weekend. And picking the tickets will be Jimmy Ellis, Gary Jones, Marty Tripes, and a whole lot of other folks from, well, not a whole lot because there's only so many winners, but I will be there and I will be watching this. Obviously, viewers, what do they usually say on the old radio shows? Employees of the show are not eligible for this contest.
Right.
So I will not be eligible, but you will be, Mr. Howard. And I hope I pull your name, out of that bucket. So I'm going to put Susie back on the phone. We're going to get your address and we'll get that ticket out to you. Compliments of the Thistle, John Lake, and Can-Am's 50th Festival. Thanks, Howard. Thanks, Bob. Got to do a lot of talking here tonight and a lot of juggling. Anyway. Replica motorcycle parts. I started talking about this last week, and Paul Parkinson Jr. sent me some products. They've got a great special going on this week. I've got one right here in my hands, and I've got a little note here. I don't want to forget something, but here it is. This is the 1974 Honda CR125 air filter assembly. It does come with this little attachment rubber piece that goes on the bottom. It does come with the piece that goes on the back that holds the air filter onto the cage just like that, okay? It's $150. There's no need to run a pod behind those two number plates anymore. Get this for $150. Put it on your CR125 and you're going to be a whole lot happier. Now, here's something else I want to talk about as well. Right here at the top of where this air filter assembly goes on your bike, there's something that holds it to the frame, and it looks like this. These are long gone, and when you find one, they are as dry and as hard as a rock. You can't really use them anymore. Paul Parkinson, Replica Motorcycle Parts, is remaking this little rubber dust piece as well. This is very, very important because not only does it stabilize that air filter assembly to the frame, because that's really all it's held there by, it stabilizes that to the frame, but it also has these two grooves in it right here that keep your number plates stable on the side. Paul Parkinson has these as well. I just got word from Paul this afternoon that the 1978, 1979 throttle tubes are now finished. 1978, 1979 Honda CR250 throttle tubes are now finished. Get over to replicamotorcycleparts.com. Check out everything they have on their website. They've got some really great stuff there, hard to find stuff. And yeah, $150 for this right here. Why would you run a pod filter on your bike when you get something that is absolutely, I mean, it's a dead ringer for an OEM part from Honda. It'll accept the correct air filter. Your bike will just perform a whole lot better, keep all the mung and goo out of that pod filter, and a great way to have a great part on your bike. Thank you, Paul Parkinson, Replica Motorcycle Parts. We'll be hearing a lot more from him. In fact, I want to have him on the show in an upcoming episode. We'll be talking more about all these great things that he's making there at Replica Motorcycle Parts. We are going to take a commercial break. When we get back, I don't know what we have. Oh, we'll have the random share giveaway winner when we get back. Don't forget, keep sharing the show. We'll be right back.
VINTCO, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with VINTCO rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The VINTCO air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit VINTCO.com to check out the air shocks and all that VINTCO has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
As promised, we are back, and we do have tonight's random share giveaway winner. It is Greg Likens. Greg Likens. You see it right there? Greg Likens, you are the winner of this beautiful sticker sheet, compliments of VINTCO.com. Greg Likens, get a hold of me and message me through Facebook, or if you have my number. However, get me your address. We'll get you a sticker sheet, compliments of VINTCO.com. And just how I see it segment, we were talking a little bit earlier about Ken Roczen winning the Supercross this past weekend in Indianapolis. It has been 6 long years, 10 months and 11 days since someone has won on a Suzuki. I think it's going to be great for all you Suzuki fans, and I wanted to hear some of your comments about Ken Roczen. And something really, really interesting is now that the Husqvarna is now back on their longest losing streak, so to speak. Not that they don't make a great brand, and they do win some heats and some 250s, but it's been a while now, since 2020 in Salt Lake City, since Husqvarna has won a 450 Premier Class event. The amazing thing about that night in 2020 in Salt Lake City was that Zach Osborne, Jason Anderson, and Dean Wilson went 1, 2, and 3. That's the last time Husky won, and now they have the dubious distinction of being a manufacturer who has been out of the winner's circle for quite some time. But anyway, hats off to Ken Roczen, and for all you Suzuki fans, it didn't matter, the Kickstarter, the electric starter, none of it really mattered. Kenny, a class guy, went out there and, yeah, show them all what's happening. I'm looking forward to seeing the race this weekend and see if maybe Kenny could do a little back-to-back thing. Who knows? Although I have been on the web wagon for quite some time. And that's just how I see it. There it is, 6 years. This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by RacerX Magazine, available on your newsstand and online now. Be sure to see your ad in the back of every issue of RacerX Magazine. 1976, the Houston Astrodome, Jim and Jimmy Weinert. The Houston Astrodome was home for the second round of the AMA Supercross Championship, and Jimmy Weinert, back with Kawasaki after a year on Yamaha, got to the win over Husqvarna's Kent Howerton and Suzuki's Tony DeStefano. The race ran a two-moto format each night. Weinert went 7-1-1-2. Howerton went 2-3, 3-5, and Tony D 1-2, 14, and 1. There were 9 brands of motorcycles in that race. Imagine those beautiful days. 9 brands of motorcycles. Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, Husky, Honda, Bultaco, Mako, Can-Am, and Amex with Gary Jones aboard. And there were 3 former 3-time AMA 250 national champions in that race. Good times with a lot of different makes. 1978, let's move on. Jordan, what do we got? 1978, Typhoon. Marty Typhoon Tripes, as he is sometimes known. He hits Daytona. Honda goes 1-2-3 at the Daytona Supercross as Marty Tripes, now the series points leader. Top teammates Marty Smith and Jimmy Ellis. Yamaha's Bob Hanna finished 4th that day. Team Green. Team Green gets lost in 1982. What an amazing program this has been for over 40 years. Kawasaki launched its new amateur support program dubbed Team Green. The idea is to find and back promising amateur and youth riders from all over the country. Kawasaki's headquarters is in California, but Team Green sets up shop out in the Atlanta office. Keith Turpin and Billy Lyles were one of the first 2 young men to be on Team Green. They were also from Georgia. The program will revolutionize amateur motocross from that day forward and continues till this day. There have been a lot of young guys that came up through Team Green. What a wonderful program that was. And that's what's going on in motocross history for tonight. The announcements are brought to you by the International Motocross Museum. You're going to be hearing a little bit more from the International Motocross Museum in the not too distant future. I think we're going to have some. Some bikes from the International Motocross Museum here on the West Coast. Works bikes here on the West Coast. I will be there. I'll tell you more about that as this event comes to as it gets a little bit closer. Got an event coming up. It's the Auburn, Alabama War Eagle MX Park race. That's on March 18th and 19th. Be sure to get down there. Auburn, Alabama. 2023, Arma Northwest. There's a race coming up this weekend. That is in Chrome, California. That's coming up this Saturday and Sunday. And Arma National, Jordan's going to be there. A race was canceled due to the weather. Imagine that. The March 18th and 19th race in Pendleton, Oregon, that's this weekend also, has been canceled. From what I understand, it's not supposed to race near the track, but there's supposed to be some really, really bad weather for people traveling toward the track. I mean, if we're going to start canceling races because weather is bad on the way, well, I don't know what this world is coming to. But anyway, the race is canceled. I thought I should tell you about it. Tammy Greenhill. Good friend. Love Tammy and Ralph. They got a race coming up, the Old School Scrambles Racing Group, that is coming up on Sunday, April 22nd. That is at Glen Helen on the truck track. All kids ride free. Compliments of Rod Lake. Let's get down to the finish line. I'll tell you a bit more about what's happening here on the show. Vintage Motocross T-shirts and hoodies are still available for just $19.99. For a couple of bucks more, get yourself a hoodie. Follow the link in the show description. You get them in white, you get them in gray. Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsorship opportunities are available. We've got a new promotional video. I have been speaking to a couple of people, and you're going to be seeing some new sponsors on the show in the very, very near future. If you have a product or service that you would like to have here on the show, get a hold of me. It's not as expensive as you think. In fact, I'm running a special right now, and I don't want to say exactly what it is. Get a hold of me, and you'll see a sizable discount for new sponsors only for Vintage Motocross Q&A. I think that about wraps it up for this week's episode of Vintage Motocross Q&A. I want to congratulate Bob Howard, the winner of the the trivia contest, gets himself a ticket, possible shot at winning a Can-Am. Greg Likens, with the random shared giveaway winner. Jordan, Chelsea, everyone, thank you so much. Greg Kokoski, you are so generous for putting those segments together, the one on the reed valve tonight. Special thanks to our new sponsor, ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, and everyone else who helps us out here on the show. Gino! I'm going to get him right now. He'll come flying in here. Gino, come on, boy. Where are you, fella? Come on, there he is. Good job, Gino. You were all the way outside?